Okay, so I made a video about the Celtics' current moves, I guess, during free agency. And I just found out something today that they also signed Enes Kanter for 2 years, $5 million apiece, which is a great deal. He's a lot better at the center position than Al Horford. He has the size. That was my biggest issue with Al Horford, is that he didn't have the size. So I think we really got a big man down low that can really protect the paint. So that's a great thing. But I found this video on YouTube, and it was First Things First with Nick Wright and Chris Carter, and he had Antoine Walker on a panel, and he was giving his thoughts on the move of the Celtics getting Kemba Walker, and he wanted to give his thoughts on the Kemba versus Kyrie comparison, and if the team is better off or not. So I'm gonna play the video.
Are the Celtics better off with Kemba than they were with Kyrie?
I believe they are.
Yes, and I've said this before. Kyrie he had the mindset of becoming a leader. Like, he was in a transition of trying to become a leader. But like I've said before, man, in sports, there are the most important part of the season where bonds are truly formed is in the playoffs. When bonds are truly formed are in the playoffs. So when you miss the playoffs, for whatever reason, you miss out on that bonding experience, because it just, the emotions are high, and you learn who you can trust and who you can't trust. I mean, it's literally a bonding experience. And Kyrie missed that bonding experience, and it's not his fault. I believe that if he was at the vanguard of the Celtics 2 years ago, that they would have been better off with him last year. But like I said, man, this team felt like they could win without him. They didn't need him. And I mean, some might say that this was a mutiny of sorts, and it kind of fudged up the results. And the results that we got really aren't the actual results of everything was clicking on all cylinders. But hey, I mean, like I said, man, Kyrie, in order for Kyrie to become a leader like he wants to be, it's a process, man. It's a process. And in order for you to lead a team, it doesn't take just great basketball ability, name recognition. It just doesn't take those things. Sometimes it takes patience, being able to communicate, and also you being able to lead people who want to be led. And I believe that was the problem. The Celtics didn't want to be led last year. So now that Al Horford and Kyrie are out the door, a lot of money is off the books. The Celtics seem to be making some pretty progressive moves. I don't know, man. I mean, I'm not saying that the Celtics are NBA championship favorites or anything, but I think they made the necessary steps in the right direction. But let me let them go.
Come on, man. Listen. No, I believe they are. I'm going to tell you why I believe they are.
Because when Kemba comes to the team, and I said this before, when Kemba comes to the team, he won't come with the same mindset that Kyrie had last year. That I'm going to lead this team. I need to lead this team, and I need those guys to follow. Kemba, not being a part of a winning organization during his NBA career, he's going to come in with the mindset, most likely, of I just want to get in where I can fit in, and I want to try to use my ability to help the team, instead of thinking I'm the best player on the roster. These young guys are either going to have to fall in line, or we're going to have the same issues that they had last year. He won't come in with that same mindset, man. Listen, when a man, especially in sports, plays for a struggling franchise for so long, when he finally gets a chance to play with a winner, he doesn't want to be the reason why they don't win. He doesn't want to be the reason why the expectations that are out there for them, they don't live up to that. He doesn't want to be the reason why that's happening. So he's going to try his best to mesh with the players that's on the court, and he's going to try his best to incorporate what he can do with the team in the system, in the flow of the game. He's not going to try to force anything. And this is why having Kemba is better than having Kyrie, because Kemba is going to be more prepared to accept the role that Brad Stevens is going to need him to play than Kyrie was willing, I guess, to accept the role. Because, like I said, man, when Kyrie went out last year, for those few games that he was out late in the season, the ball movement was there, the synergy was there. The players looked like they were excited to play with each other. I mean, it looked like a real offense.
First, you got to start with the locker room. I'm not even going to go in the court yet. Let's just start in the locker room. You get a guy who's better in the locker room, a guy who's going to bring some leadership, a guy also who's going to want to be there. You got to think about it. Kyrie didn't really want to be in Boston. He wants to be there. Obviously, it's going to be some adjusting to be made on the offensive end as far.
I won't say Kyrie didn't want to be in Boston. Kyrie probably felt like Boston didn't want him, or the players on that team didn't want him there. So I could kind of see how that would make him not want to be there. I honestly believe when Kyrie came out and said that he was going to stay, I believe that he had every intention of signing a contract at that point. But sometimes shit change fast. Sometimes things change, especially when the chemistry and the vibe in the locker room starts to change. Then you start to change. And I don't think that they ever really took in, like Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Terry Rozier, they wanted Kyrie gone at the trade deadline. I'm pretty sure. They wanted him gone. And now Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, they're just glad that he's not there anymore. I'm pretty sure. So, I don't know, man. I guess a lack of your teammates not accepting you really, I mean, you know, it kind of spurn you a little bit and make you not want to be there anymore. But if none of those issues gotten away, I think Kyrie would have been happy in Boston. I mean, look, for a young guy who's super talented to play for a really good team, may not be the biggest of markets, but it's a pretty big market in Boston. And, you know, you're making a whole lot of money, and you have competent front office people making moves. Danny Ainge is the best executive in the NBA. I don't care what Masai Ujiri is doing. It will take a lot for Ujiri to usurp. Danny Ainge is the best GM or best executive or whatever in the NBA. Jerry West is up there, but still, I don't put Jerry West on the level of a Danny Ainge. Some of the things that I've seen Danny Ainge do was borderline impressive and borderline criminal, honestly. But, you know, to have a guy like that that's going to put the best pieces around you to be successful, I mean, who wouldn't want to be in Boston? As long as the city accepts you, and the city did for a while, and as long as your teammates accept you, I mean, that relationship kind of got kind of strained. So I don't know. Now he doesn't want to be there. Now he's not there anymore.
His skill, he plays like Kyrie. He's a volume shooter. He's not a high percentage guy, so he needs a lot of shots to get his numbers. So he's going to have to figure that out. But I think Brad Stevens learned a tremendous lesson this year on how he's going to have to deal with this team and deal with Kemba Walker fitting into this offense. I think he'll adjust the offense. I think Kemba Walker will be willing to do it. And then I like the durability.
Of course, Kemba Walker will be willing to conform to what Brad Stevens needs him to do, because Kemba is now a part of a winning organization. They weren't winning in Charlotte. Boston made the playoffs last year. He's a part of a winning organization that these players have playoff experience. Kemba is going to come in. He does not want to be the thing that messes up everything else. He's going to want to do what he can. Honestly, for the first year of this 4-year contract, Kemba Walker for the first year is going to be more worried about his fit with the system than his numbers, honestly. I mean, the worst thing you can do, especially coming to a new team, is think, I need to get my numbers. No matter what else is going on the court, I need to get my numbers. So at least for the first year, he's not going to be as concerned with his numbers, especially with the big contract he just signed. So he doesn't really need to do that now. And then second year, now we're starting to talk about Kemba being the leader of the team. Maybe if Jason Tatum doesn't, fill out like he should. I mean, this dude has a lot of potential still, even though he was kind of hampered by his attitude and the relationship with Kyrie. I don't know, man. It's a lot going on in Boston right now, but it's always positive when it's an overabundance of talent you're talking about. The worst situation you could be, especially with locker room chemistry, is when you have a depleted locker room. There's really no talent. I mean, right now, Boston is in a way better position than the Lakers are in right now. I mean, the Lakers have Anthony Davis and LeBron, sure, but none of the moves they wanted to make during the offseason actually paid off. They're putting way too many eggs into the Kawhi basket because I doubt Kawhi will sign there. Most likely he'll go to the Clippers if he wants to be in LA. They have a far better coach there, and they have a better front office that have shown that they can make great moves. It may not be the most flashy moves, but they are great moves.
If you really look at what Kemba Walker's done in the last 4 years, he's only missed 6 games. You don't know what you're going to get out of Kyrie Irving as far as health-wise. But with Kemba Walker, he's going to be there. He's a couple years older. The only thing that bothers me about Kemba Walker is he hasn't played in a lot of meaningful games.
Correct.
And you got to take that into consideration. He hasn't played in the...
And that's what's going to change. And listen, that's why I'm saying he hasn't played in playoff series where he can really show off his potential. I mean, I'm not saying he has that potential, but we don't know that he does because he's never been in big time games like that. He's never been a part of a playoff race. Like a serious playoff race. I believe the Hornets made the playoffs not too long ago. I could be wrong. I mean, I might be fudging up my years right now because we're kind of tired. But Kemba Walker has never been on a team that was competing at such a high level that it called for him to step his game up to a different... This is what I'm saying. The first year, Kemba Walker is going to be more about trying to fit in than getting his numbers. And then going into the second year, maybe the third year, that's when we start seeing Kemba start to take over. If Jason Tatum hasn't taken over by then. But honestly, a team that has so much talent, nobody should be trying to be a leader. Honestly, nobody should be trying to be the main leader. Let me say that. Everybody should be trying to do the best they can as a team. And, the moment egos come into the picture, everything gets fucked up. And I could just see it happen again if they don't check it. If they don't try to work together, I can see it happening again.
Playoff games that Kyrie Irving's played in. Obviously, we saw Kyrie do it on the biggest stage in the world, make one of the biggest shots for the Cleveland Cavaliers and winning them a championship. But I like Kemba Walker to replace him. They couldn't find no better fit to me in the league to be able to get him.
Like I said before, getting Kemba after losing Kyrie is the perfect trade-off. There's no way you could have gotten better.
Right in, and I just think everything, total package, off the court, on the court, he's better than Kyrie.
Okay, you made several points that I got to get to because I think they're very, very good points as far as to what you're trying to say. Number one, Brad Stevens. What did he learn last year? We think Brad's a good coach, but that experience last year and the limited things they did offensively, they didn't have a whole bunch of flexibility offensively. So, yes, when
you're a coach, and I've said this before, man, Brad Stevens does little. When you watch the games, it looks like he does little coaching, very little coaching. But a lot of times that could be because the team is so prepared, he doesn't really need to do much. But last year, there was just so many issues with the team. There were so many issues on the court, in the locker room. There was just so many issues that, that was probably the first time he had to deal with that. So, I don't know. I think we give him a pass for a year, but if they can't get their shit together this year, that's when we start looking at Brad Stevens. Honestly, Brad Stevens is to blame for that, and I've said that before. He's to blame for what happened, but I'm not going to put everything on him, and at least I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and see if he could just come back and try to do a better job. but it takes time. I'm kind of tired. I really wanted to broach this subject because I think the Celtics are better off with Kemba because the mindsets are different. Kemba's mindset versus Kyrie's mindset with being with Boston will most likely be very different, polar opposites. Because while Kyrie was trying to lead the team, even though the team didn't want to be led, Kemba will be trying to fit in with the team. So, we'll see.